Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark. This is Spagavra's Garage. I appreciate you guys coming back. If you haven't done so before, get out and hit that subscribe button. When you do, a little bell icon will pop up. If you hit that, you'll get notifications every time I post a new video. So today what I wanted to do was talk with you guys about performance. Specifically, you know, I'm in an A91 that can't be tuned. The ECU is not tunable at this point. And so the only way you've got to tune these cars at this point is if you want to go with the piggyback tune. Now, some people like that, some people don't. Some people would go with a piggyback tune regardless because it's easier to take off and isn't as noticeable when you take it in for service or a warranty recall or anything like that. So if you take it in and you've been using an EcuTech or something else that's an actual flash, it actually records how many times the ECU has been reflashed, so it'll show that it's been reset back to factory. But if you're using a piggyback, it is tricking the system, and so there's nothing actually being changed. It's just changing the parameters so that it either gives it more boost or changes things, adjusts timing, whatever. But what I wanted to talk about was kind of how much performance you actually get out of a JB4. So I've had the JB4 on here for a while, and I've worked with Berger and I've worked with Jesse, and we're kind of tweaking things, trying to get the most out of this car with the JB4. Not tunable, so that's all I've got to work with right now. I don't have any real mods on it. I've got the MST air intake, but no downpipe, no exhaust, nothing else, just that. So with the JB4, how good is it? Well, I've been using it for a while, and the butt dyno says it's really good. Now, I could take it, actually, Sunday, there is a cruise, and it's stopping at an auto shop that has a dyno, and so I could test it. But what do the dyno numbers really mean? I mean, we could say it puts 450 to the wheels, but does that mean anything? I guess if you're comparing it against other cars that are the similar weight, it means something. It should give you an expected outcome, but that's why races are done, is because you know, drivers have different abilities. A lot of factors go into play. You know, how does the power come in? How do you drive it? What type of tires? What size tires? What's the surface? So a lot of stuff comes into play. Dyno numbers are good for, you know, ego, for talking about numbers and comparing them. And I guess they're kind of an apples to apples comparison if you're using the same type of dyno, because, you know, dyno jet versus a Mustang, you're going to get different dyno numbers. So they're just kind of numbers you can talk about. But I was like, you know, I've got a Draggy and some numbers that I thought were kind of standard type numbers. You know, if you watch a lot of roll racing, it's usually a 40 roll or something along those lines. And so that's where I kind of started with this whole thing, was I did a custom Draggy 40 to 100 in there. And that gives you a good range, and it's something that most people can find a spot to do without worrying too much. You know, a 60 to 130 is kind of the standard people have been doing out there, but you've got to find a really good place to do that. You've got to have a pretty wide open area. And so with a small closed course, you can actually do a 40 to 100. And so that's what I did. I went out and I did 40 to 100. And what I did was I compared map 0, which is stock, map 3, which, since I'm running 93, that's the highest you can go without an EWG, and without, well, you can do map 4 with 93, but once you get to map 5, you need some sort of ethanol blend. So what I ended up doing was I filled the tank with 93. So I ran it dry, filled it with 93. So no ethanol blend in there at all. And I did a map 0 pull and a map 3 pull. And then I refilled the tank and did a E40 blend and did a map 3 pull, a map 4 pull, and a map 5 pull, doing that 40 to 100. And the results were kind of interesting. So why don't we take a look at those and see kind of what we came up with. So like I said, found a nice closed course, It had a decent amount of room, and I tried to make the variables about as constant as possible. Temperature was the same. I used the same closed course surface, so it was the same direction every time. It was the same area, and I tried to get everything exactly the same so that we were just, it was apples to apples. Now there is one thing I didn't get right. So when I did the 93 tests, we were at a little below a half a tank, and when I did the E40 tests, we were at a full tank. So I just filled up and went out and did these tests. So I should probably go back and redo them at some point below a half a tank so that we've really got an apples to apples comparison. But, so here's the close course that we went to. Did some pulls out here. And so if we take a look, here's the Draggy for our map 0 93 octane. And you can see we were right at 7 seconds. So 40 to 100, 7 seconds. So then we reset everything. We changed it to map 3, went out, did the same pull. That 40 to 100 on map 3 was right at 6 seconds. So we dropped a full second by going from map 0 to map 3. And what map 3 does is gives us 6 extra pounds. I believe it's 6 or 8. I'll have to go back and look. Extra pounds of boost throughout the range. Then after we did the refuel, we went back out, same place. And now we did map 3 again. And so we went from that 6 seconds down to a 5.8 with map 3 with E40. So 0.2 of a second knocked off going from 93 to E40. So you can see there's definitely a performance increase by using ethanol or ethanol blends. Then we went to map 4, and we actually got a little bit slower on map 4. 4.83 is what we showed for map 4. Then we set it all up again, reset the Draggy, and we hit it with map 5, and we hit exactly 5.80 again. So both map 3 and map 5 are 5.80. Now, me and Jesse have been talking, and we're not quite satisfied with where we are with map 5. So we're going to do some custom tweaking to map 5. We're going to go do some logging, and we're going to keep tweaking that, and we're going to see if we can get that down a little bit lower. So we'll keep working this. But you can see, just by going to the JB4, we were able to cut from 7 seconds stock to 6 seconds. And then if we went to an ethanol blend, 5.8 seconds. And that's pretty impressive. Now, what's kind of interesting is that it didn't show much of a difference between map 3, map 4, and map 5. And so that's where we're going to play with it. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to come back and hopefully find some better numbers. All right, guys, hope you guys found this interesting. If you have any questions about JB4, the install, what we're doing with it, go ahead and leave them down below, and I'll get back to you, and we'll talk about that. I've got a lot more coming. I do have another one that I'm going to be posting up. All of these were done with no brake boosting. So I have seen a lot of people questioning what brake boosting is and what it can do for you. So with the JB4, I've got all the data up, all the screens up, and we can go out and we can do a non-brake boosted run and a brake boosted run and take a look at what improvements that gives you and what it actually does for you to do the brake boosting. So stick around, we'll get back to that one. Hey, again, comments down below, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. I'll see you guys.